or ever wonder how to get your hips a little bit mobilized? Well, today I'm going to give you 15 full minutes of hip movement and getting those hips working for you so they're no longer lying to you. Let's get started. Hello and welcome. My name is Inga Bentley. I'm your resident yoga teacher and anatomy junkie, and today we're going to be focusing everything here on the hips. If you have a block, I'm going to have you grab it and we're going to use it for today. If you don't have a block, you can always do this exercise without a block, or you can use a textbook, an Amazon box, or kind of anything that you can really put your butt on and help support your hips. So let's get started laying down on our back. Awesome. Now that we're going on our back, I'm going to have you take your block, bend your knees, and then bridge your hips up if you can on the second level here. If you need to be on the first level, that's a-okay. I want you to really have this block here on your low back, so your glutes are hanging up, and then narrow between your ribs and your hips. So your core starts to turn on, your glutes start to turn on, and bring your hands to your pelvis. So the pelvis moves independently of the hips here, and the pelvis is really where the hips connect into the rest of the body, into the trunk of the body, so from the shoulders to the hips. We're going to start by taking our left leg up. You're bending at this knee, and then we're going to straighten the left leg up towards the sky. You can relax your toes here, and you can always have a bend into this left leg. The block underneath us here is to support us. So core on, glutes on, and then all we're going to do is move the toes out to an external rotation here. So you're moving your whole hip bone, your whole leg out to the side. So your hip is now in external rotation. Your pelvis hasn't moved. You're going to turn the leg back into center and then turn your toes to the right, so an internal rotation. And then we'll do this a couple times. So externally rotate and then internally rotate. So this bottom block here is to really help you support your pelvis so you can distinguish between hip and pelvis movement. And right here what we're doing is we're starting to lubricate that joint. Yeah, if you have your hips up off a block, you'll want to make sure that your pelvis is stabilizing so your low back isn't moving in or out. We'll do one more, externally and then internally rotate. And then we'll pause here. I want you to flex the leg, so drawing the knee in, keep the glutes on, keep the core on, and we'll extend our left arm up and we'll just pull our left wrist back here. So leg is in flexion. We're breathing into the hip, we're breathing into the wrist. Awesome. Release your foot down, release your hand, and we'll start to take the right leg up. So again, pelvis is in a neutral position, right leg extends out, hands at the hips, and then or at the pelvis, and then we're just going to rotate internally and externally. Awesome. Internal rotation isn't something we do very often in our yoga practice. We tend to think about more hip opening exercises, such as pigeon or figure four. But what we're doing is working the hip joint here, lubricating it, and getting them more mobility here. You should be able to internally rotate just as much as you should be able to externally rotate. But you might notice that one hip is a little bit tighter than the other. We'll do this 2 more times. Oh, it stopped recording. Oh no, it didn't stop recording. Well, I don't know. Shit happens. Yeah, so we'll move to external and then internal, external, then internal, and then rebend the right knee in, extend the right wrist up and pull back. Keep the glutes lifting here. You shouldn't feel any pinching in your low back. Shouldn't feel kind of anything in your low back. It should feel nice and long here. Awesome. We'll release our hands down, release your hips down, and then lift your hips up and move that block out of the way, and we'll slowly roll down. We're going to take the block between our knees. Bring your hands back behind your head, elbows point up towards the sky. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, nod your chin to your chest, lift up off your shoulder blades. Gather your belly together and then pull your belly down as you curl up a little bit higher here. Feel the deep abdominal muscles working. Inhale and lower. We're going to add on. Exhale, lift, come up and hold. Hug the block in and extend your left leg out. See if you can curl up just a little bit higher towards that left leg. Awesome. Rebend the knee, lower the head down. So what we're doing here in our core pose is really keeping that pelvis in a neutral position as we move through the hips. Exhale and lift. Right leg extends. Hug the block in as you curl up towards that right leg. Awesome. Re-lower the leg, re-lower the head. We add on. Exhale and lift. Awesome. Left leg extends. Hug the block, and then I want you to internally and externally rotate the leg again. Yeah, and you're squeezing that block here, keeping the core lifted, feeling those deep abdominal muscles, and just moving from that hip joint. Rebend the knee. Inhale and hold. Exhale and lift. Right leg extends. Open and close as you hug that block in. Keep your pelvis neutral and move through this right hip joint. One more. Open and close. Re-lower the knee. Lower the head and neck down. One more time. Exhale and lift. Left leg extends. This time, take a little bit of a curl to the left. So you should feel your obliques engaged. And then we'll internally and externally rotate that hip. Yeah, getting into that hip rotation. Getting it more mobilized. Keep squeezing the block here. One more curl. Awesome. Rebend the left leg. Lower down. Last one. Exhale and lift. Turn to the right. Extend your right leg. And then internally and externally rotate your hips. Keep the curl here. Breathe. Big breath in. Big breath out. Awesome. One more. Come back through center. Rebend the knee and lower. You can release your block down and put it out of the way. We'll open up our feet as wide as our mat and then knock your knees together. So internal rotation again here. You should feel your spine really long here on the mat. Pause for a second. You can bring your arms out like a cactus or a T. We'll open the right knee to the right and drop the knees over. Flex your toes and really push that knee forward as you breathe. Big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Awesome. Slowly bring the knees back through center and then re-knock the knees together and hold here. Take the left knee, open it to the left, and then flex the toes as you push the right knee forward. So we're still in internal rotation here in the right hip, and we're opening through the left here. Awesome. We'll bring the knees back through center, and we'll roll all the way up and over to a tabletop position. So shoulders stacked over your wrists. Knees can be right over your hips, or you can walk the knees in slightly here. Really push into your hands here and lift through your belly. Lift the back of your head, so head is in neutral here. And we're going to take the right toes and we're going to extend them back behind us. We're going to pick up the leg here, and I want you to bend your knee this time. There should be no arch in your back here, so lift into your low belly. With the knee bent, we're going to externally rotate across, so we're opening out to the outside. And I want you to internally rotate, point your knee to the right. So externally rotate, and then internally rotate. Push into your hands, external and internal. Pelvis stays neutral, so you should actually be able to take that block and balance it on your back. Two more, open and close, open and close. One more, open, close. You're gonna have to bring the left knee across the right and then slowly press the knees back here. You can walk your hands back, so we're in a little bit of an eagle leg here, and you should feel your left hip, the outside of that glute, really turn up. Big breath in, big breath out. One more, inhale. Exhale, slowly walk the hands back forward, re-bring the left leg out, reset your spine, and then take your right toes back behind you. Push into the floor, lift into your belly, and then bend that right leg. Awesome. Keep your pelvis neutral, just small movements at the hip, external and internal twisting to the left. Open and close. Open and close. You got it. Open and close. Two more. Open and close. Last one. Open, close, cross the right knee over the left, and then slowly press back as you breathe. Walk those hands back. Hands still underneath the wrist here as we breathe into that right hip. Yeah, big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Re-bring that right knee all the way up and over. And let's lower down to our forearms. Awesome. You can interlace your hands or bring your hands straight down. We'll tuck our toes under and then lift your hips up towards the sky. Bend your knees a lot as you walk forward. Maybe you stay right here or take that left leg back behind you. Keep your hip from opening up. You still want your pelvis in a neutral position here. And we're just going to open and close that foot again. Breathing in and breathing out. So we're moving just at the hip joint as the pelvis stays in a neutral position. Open and close, open and close. One more, open and close. We're going to put that foot down, and right away we'll switch to the left side. Keep the the right side. Keep the pelvis in a neutral position, and then we'll open and close that hip joint again. Breathing in. Awesome. 3, 2, 1. Rebend that right knee. Let's come down, and then we'll press into a downward facing dog. First down dog of the day. You can bend left and right here, getting a little bit into those hamstrings. We're going to move right into our sequences here. Step to the top of your mat. Full body stretch. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, think about bending and hinging at your hips as you come down. So we're flexing at the hips, bring the hands to the ground. Step your right toes back. We'll lower to our right knee, untuck our toes as we come up for a little lunge here. And then think about dragging your left heel back towards your right knee, and you'll feel your right hip flexor, your right psoas really turn on as we reach up here. Big breath in, big breath out. Awesome. Bring your hands to your hips. Tuck your back toes under, and we're going to pivot to the center of our mat, goddess pose. Pelvis stays in a neutral position, so you can bring one hand to your belly, one hand into your low back. We're going to lift the left heel. We're going to turn to the back, and then come to a low lunge here on the right side. So untuck those toes again, and then pull the right heel back towards the left knee. Feel the psoas, feel the hip flexor. Spine nice and tall. Awesome, now we're going to find some movement here. Left knee tucks under. Pivot to center, goddess. Turn to the front, lower the right knee down. Lift to goddess. Pivot to the back. We'll do this 2 more times. Center and front. Center and back. Last one, come to center, and we're going to hold here. Spine stays tall, chest lifted. Bring your hands to your hip bones, to your ilium here. And what we're going to do is pick up the right toes, and we're going to keep our pelvis neutral as you turn your left knee in here. And then open the leg up, and then re-put the heel down. Right heel lifts, turn the hip in, open, and lower. Left leg in and open, almost like the Elvis Presley, moving those hips in internal rotation. Awesome, we're here for 3, 2, last one. Awesome, now we're going to pivot to our right toes. We're going to turn to the front for our crescent lunge. Bend into your back knee. Bring your right knee into your left thigh. And I want you to really stick your fingers into this left hip so you're feeling the hinge here. And see if you can lift up for your warrior 3 here for a second. Draw your shoulder blades back. Spine is still nice and tall. Bend into this left leg. You should feel your left glute and your left hip really engage. Now come up to a stand. We're going to cross the right leg all the way up and over the left. And then hug the knees in, so we're in eagle legs. Finding some of that circumduction, so the rotation of the hip. Push into your left hand. We're going to open to the right. Come back behind. Tap the right toes over to the left and find a curtsy squat. Push into those toes. Come all the way up and over. Interlace the legs. Come all the way up, back, and tap. Up, back, and over. Awesome. Up, back, and down. Last one. Up, back, and over. Awesome. Bring your toes over to the left, and we're going to pause. Bring your left hand to your knee, right hand to your knee, left hand to your hip. Squeeze your inner thighs, and see if you can start to gaze over that left shoulder. You'll feel your glute, feel your hips engage and breathe. Big breath in. Big breath out. So I know a little bit of a twist here. Awesome. I'm going to turn to the right. We're going to step that right foot over to the right, and then find some side lunges. Really push your butt back. Feel your hips flat, and back. Yeah, just get a little bit of mobility in here. Feeling those hips. So we're getting a little abduction and a little bit of external rotation. And we'll do 2 more here. And then we're going to turn to the back of the mat, pivot to your crescent lunge. So other side, left hand comes to your thigh, right hand to your low back, lean into your shoulders, bend into that right leg as you float the left toes and pause here. Pelvis is in a neutral position. We're flexing at that hip as we breathe. Come all the way up to a stand. Wrap your left leg around your right. And then we'll come all the way up and over, curtsy squat behind. Try to keep your spine tall. Come all the way up. Pelvis stays neutral. And then all the way back behind. Awesome. All the way up. All the way back behind. Really push down through this foot. 2 more. Up and over. And then back behind. Last one. Up and over. Back behind and hold to left toes. Come all the way over to the right. Left hand to the knee, right hand to the hip, and turn. Squeeze those inner thighs together and breathe. Awesome. Then we'll unwind to the left, step your left foot to the left. Side lunges again, finding some movement here. Moving from side to side, maybe a little bit easier. You can move quickly or slowly here, depending on how your hips feel. Awesome. We're here for 3, 2, 1. We're going to turn to the front, plant your hands down, and then step back to a downward facing dog and pause here. Walk your toes forward. Bend into your knees and lift your glutes up towards the sky. Big breath in. Big breath out. Big breath in. Big breath out. Let's lower down to our knees here. And we're going to roll all the way down onto our back. So you can bring your feet, your hips down to the ground. And we'll slowly lower down. Figure 4 pose. Bring your left ankle to your right knee. You can bring your arms back up to a cactus. And we're going to hover the legs. So maybe it's just enough here to stay with our right foot on the ground here to externally rotate through that hip. Or you can stay in this lifted position. I want you to pull your right knee to the right, left knee to the left, and you'll feel an external rotation in your left leg as we breathe here. Big breath in. Big breath out. Might feel a little bit more intense than our typical figure 4. Make sure that your hips are all the way down on the ground. Awesome. One more big breath. Keep this right knee in, and we're going to drop the knees. We're going to drop the knees over to the right. So left foot stays up. You're going to walk this right knee up, and maybe you grab your left ankle and bring your left hand to your left knee, and just encourage it to point up towards the sky. Awesome. Big breath in. Big breath out. You can stay right here, or we're going to roll to our front. And see if you can come down to your forearms. So you bring that left arm over, and you'll pause here. Again, think about pointing that left knee up, and you'll feel this nice big external opener. You might even feel it all the way into your tailbone as we're here. One more big breath. Awesome. Then we're going to thread the right arm underneath, and we're going to come all the way back down onto our back, and we'll switch sides. So bring your right ankle over your left. Again, foot can stay on the ground here, or you can hover the legs and then pull right knee to the right, left knee to the left. Your ankle should catch your left leg so your legs aren't actually pulling apart here and breathe. You might notice one side's a little bit tighter than the other and breathe. Awesome. Keep the legs like this, or drop the right foot over to the left. Grab for that right ankle and encourage the right knee to come up towards the sky. And pause. And then you can stay right here, or you can roll to your forearms, maybe bring those forearms all the way down to the ground as we breathe. Yeah, think about pointing that right knee straight up towards the sky. Awesome. Then we'll thread that arm back underneath you. So left arm comes underneath, and you'll come all the way back to your back. Release both feet, and bring the feet firmly down on the ground here, and then come back to internal rotation. So your hips should be in an internal rotation, pelvis is neutral, spine is really tall here. Now, you can either take your Shavasana here or extend your legs. If you need to get going, you're more than welcome to leave, or you can press pause and take as much time as you need here, but start to deepen your breath. Start to feel your hips in this internal rotation here, pausing for a second. You can stay here as long as you need to, or we'll go over to our side. And we'll press yourself up to a seat. And I'll give you a couple options here. You can sit kind of just on a regular, on your glutes, or you can bring that block underneath you. And this will help kind of your hips settle a little bit more. So the knees are below the hips, maybe instead of high. It'll take a little bit of that pressure off the hips. Bring your hands to your heart. We'll take one more big breath together. Inhale. And exhale. Namaste. Thanks so much for spending your day with me. I hope you had a great time. Again, my name is Inga. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to get all classes and check out our more videos on hips. Have a great day.